Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Jesse. My pronouns are he and him, and tonight I will be your MC as we play Urban Shadows Second Edition, a game that is still in Quick Start, but I got the most recent Kickstarter update today, and they are moving quickly to get this book ready. I'm super excited for it. We were playing in the city of Boston, just south of towns like Innsmouth and Kingsport and Arkham. Uh, and we're gonna be living in that world a little bit. So with that, I'd love to meet our players. Just if you'd like to introduce yourselves, names, pronouns, and anything else you feel interested in sharing. Joel, why don't you go first?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Joel, he, him pronouns. And yeah, I'll be playing Sabine today, who we'll introduce later.
Wonderful, yeah. Mona,
Yeah, I'm Mona, she, her. Yeah, glad to be here.
yeah, amazing. And Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark. I use he, him pronouns, and unlike Jesse, I do not believe that Magpie is working quickly enough on this game. And they should put some more people hours into it so that we can get the full edition.
Fair enough. And Steven.
Hey there, I am Steven, he, him. You can find me at Steven Alligator, but you'll mostly find stuff related to the Gauntlet, and you're here. So, there you go.
Wonderful, 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 wonderful. Pleasure to see you all tonight. I'm very excited to play with you. So we're using some safety tools. Those include the X card. The X card lets anyone excise any content they want at any point by saying X or putting in X like this in this video or typing X in our X card in our private chat, or there's a button in the dice roller, which I will put a link to in the chat as well, so people have it. And all of those tools will allow you to invoke the X card at any time, no justification required. We are also using a number of Bo Yeager Sheldon script change tools. The ones I like to use are Rewind, which lets you rewind back to any point in the game that you want and say, hey, everything that happened after that, not in the fiction, where it didn't work for me. I don't feel good about it. It bumped up against something I was uncomfortable with, or it just didn't not how I feel good about the game having proceeded that way. And we will rewind back and go there, and start from scratch. Again, no justifications required. I also like to use pause. Pause lets you pause the action at any point, either just to say, hey, can we just pause and take a breather for a moment? Or I also like to use it sometimes as a way to sort of start a conversation outside the action of the fiction. If sort of our fictional role playing is getting a little bit heated, and you want a safety tool to say, hey, can we just pause for a minute and discuss. You can use pause for that as well, or any other reason you might want to pause the action that we're in, and then when uh, when we're ready, we can hit play again and just move forward from where we left off. And then the third of the script change tools I like to use is fast forward. Fast forward lets us say, hey, everybody, we know exactly what's about to happen. Our beloved NPC is about to die. I don't want to put it on screen. We don't need to have that scene and all of its detail, but we can fast forward through it. It will have happened in the fiction, but we won't have put the camera on it. So those are the script change tools I like to use. Then we are using also lines and veils. So we have in our character keeper, we have a list of lines and a list of veils. Lines are things which will never appear in the fiction at any time. Veils are things that can appear in the fiction, but we're not going to put the camera on them. We're not going to focus on them. The example I like to give is in an old movie. You might see a couple kiss, fade to black, cut to them in bed, perhaps two separate beds, smoking cigarettes. Everybody knows what happened, but there was a veil cast over it, right? It was not shown. So that's what a veil is in this game as well. So we have this list here. Take a look, check it out. It is a living list. Feel free to add things at any point we may want. Feel free to add things at any point. I will check before the game and usually after a break to see if anything has been added. But if you add something sort of midstream, please ping me so that I just know to look and see, in case I don't want to miss it. But if you do it between sessions or even like before a break, I'll probably check in right before I jump back in. Another safety tool that I don't always mention explicitly, but I'm going to tonight, and I should every time we play, that's in play, which is part of, we were playing this game through the Gauntlet play community, and this is one of the required safety tools, which is the open door. Anybody can leave at any time for any reason, no questions or justifications required. Just, take off if you need to. And I'm mentioning it especially and in particular today, because as I said to some of the players earlier, I have a sick toddler at home. So he's in bed, he should be fine, but it's possible I might get called away at a moment's notice. And so just be aware, especially my general rule about this, which I should remember to say more often because it's important, is that if I disappear at any point and I'm gone for like 10 minutes or more, assume I'm not coming back and take off. I will try to let you know if something's going on and not just disappear. And at some point I will certainly, let you know, but just when there's a sick kid at home, I might get pulled away quickly, and so I just wanted to make sure to flag that the open door and the 10 minutes, so that if anything goes on, you can don't wait forever. All right. With all those are safety tools. Any questions about safety? Any of that?
No.
Oh, wonderful. And with that, let's meet our characters. And we're just going to go left to right across our character keeper. So, Stephen, why don't you tell us about Abernathy, the Aware, who they are, what they're about, and where we last saw them.
Yeah, I am playing Abernathy, they, them. They, they're tied into the whole Deep One thing. I've already gotten into that a fair amount, but the last time we saw them, so they had a friend of theirs had gotten enough money somehow to hire Sabine. I'm not going to think too deeply about where they got it, but they I was just about to have a word with Sabine about this business.
Yeah. Okay, very, very cool. And then we're gonna meet Sabine. So Joel, tell us about Sabine.
Yeah, I'm playing Sabine, she, her pronouns. She is the imp in this campaign, so she has like an establishment. She likes to make deals and kind of barter and that sort of thing. Her establishment is a art gallery type place that is in Panhu's district or domain, so she gets kind of protection from them. And last saw her, looking to make a deal with Abernathy's sibling. Was it your sibling?
Nah, they're just a friend.
Just friend. Okay, Abernathy's friend. And is about to
best friends, I should
best
say.
Friend. Okay, Abernathy's bestie. And Abernathy and Sabine's gonna kind of like discuss that a bit.
Yeah. Right, and that's Riley's your struggling best friend, right?
Yeah.
And then we've got Max. Mark, why don't you tell us about Max the Wizard? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna skip over Max for a second. I'd like no, we're gonna get back to you, but because we're gonna start with your perspective, I feel like we should actually end with you. So Mona, tell us about Panhu.
Yeah, so I'm playing Panhu, she, her. She's the wolf. So she's basically a werewolf that can transform into a powerful creature that only vaguely resembles a wolf. And she's also the protector of this like underprivileged and impoverished neighborhood, among other things. And the last time we see her, she's trying to protect this pyro radio fairy from like the mooks of various factions. So yeah.
Yeah, Rupa Day is their name. I'll put that name in the chat here. Rupa Day, a fairy who runs a private this pirate radio station. Yeah, and now Max, now Mark, tell us about Max and what her deal is.
Yeah, so Max Irvin is a wizard, and she is she's kind of working somewhat for a collection of more powerful wizards at Harvard. That collection of wizards is known as the Order of Crimson Truth. She most notably has interesting relationships with some of the other characters. Sabine and Max were involved last year. They're still trying to sort that out a bit. Abernathy has some dirt on on a ward that Maxine has, who's named Lily.
You're also roomies with my big bro. So.
That's right. Yes. So Max is hosting not only Lily, her ward, but also Abernathy's big brother, who is, it's not Finnegan, it's a different
Maverick.
Maverick, thank you.
Oh, that's a name. I'd forgotten that name.
And she relies on Pan Hu for muscle sometimes, and was just on her way to speak with Pan Hu when she came across this scene of Pan Hu facing down these back alley hooligans. Yeah.
Wait, I'm curious. I'm just curious for telling me about Max's character. Is Back Alley Hooligans a Mark phrasing or a Max phrasing?
That was unfortunately a Mark phrasing.
Okay.
Yeah. No, she would say something super cool and spot on, and I struggle for every word that I'd managed to get out of my mouth. So
that's okay. I was just curious.
I think that's great. I will describe those back alley hooligans in a second for the audience, but I want to jump back to Maverick for a second because, right? I mean, he has to be face cast by young James Garner, right?
Who Maverick?
Your brother Maverick?
Oh, okay, yes, okay.
I'm thinking he has to be face cast as a young James.
Uh-oh.
I went back in the browser, but in the wrong browser window.
Okay, I played the opening credits while you were
amazing. Right. Anyways, we don't have to get caught up in that. I think I've young James Garner. Anyway, all of that in mind, we have so yeah. So this is how the last session ended, right? You had been Sabine's former master through the Order of the Crimson Truth, which is this shall we say this order of wizards that you're connected to has asked you to help to help how do we say persuade Pan Hu to let a couple people come from the muses and not and hang out and just like live for a while in Pan Hu's territory, which you're and you I believe you said you talk. She just asked you to talk to her. I think is all she asked you to sort of say, hey, what do you think of this idea? And so you were on your way there. and Panhu was patrolling her territory, and she frankly got a very bad role patrolling her territory, and so she comes across these two people, three people who she knows, or at least she definitely knows two of them. One of them is Rupa Day, a charming fairy who takes over the airwaves for the late night student radio show nearly every night on this pirate radio station that they run. And they're also secretly, sending encoded message for a rebellion against the Twilight Court of the Fae. Meanwhile, so you, and they're being pursued into your territory by these two people. One is a rock troll named Granite. Big, kind of burly, stone-skinned troll. And then the who I believe pronouns were she, they. And then a werewolf, like you, Panhu, but not like you, in transformed state. I believe I described them as having kind of their big sort of lumbering form with these like kind of bone spikes. Not lumbering, sorry, gangly form with these kinds of like bone spikes jutting out of his shoulders and forearms. The hint of a muzzle with big, sharp razor teeth. Glowing violet eyes, and this sort of like soft, fleshy pink skin. Out of which these bone spikes kind of emerge. In a grotesque sort of fashion. And that's Matt Herlihy, pronounced he, him, Matthew Herlihy, member of the Orion Mob, a band of a group of Irish American werewolf gangsters, who Sabine knows is collaborating with the Twilight Court. Working with the Twilight Court, and you knew Concrete, I believe, Panhu, if I remember correctly, right? You rolled put a name to a face, I believe.
Yeah.
And the thing that you learned about them, you knew who they were. I think you got a mixed success on that roll. So you knew or a hit on that roll, and so you knew, but not a 10. So you knew who they were, which was they work as an enforcer for the Twilight Court. And they had a cool hobby that I don't remember what it was. It was like, do I have something in my notes? I don't have something in my notes. I think they collected something. Does anyone remember? If not, I'll make something else up.
It's that they go to like audit classes at the university.
That's right. They're fascinated by sort of like human knowledge. That's right. And they audit classes at the university. Yeah. Cool. And yeah, I believe you stepped up, right, with your baseball bat in human form, and Max watched this happen, and you said, remind me what you said. It was something very threatening, Panhu.
And I told them they are out of their jurisdiction.
That's right, with the implied threat that they should leave. And yeah, so Max, you see this, and I think the thing that you see happen next after Panhu says that is that Matt, this Herlihy, this sort of werewolf creature, reaches down with a clawed, with a big meaty clawed hand, right? And the claws aren't actually on his fingers, right? They sort of project out from his forearm, but they extend that far or even farther, right? And to grab and say, well, if you don't mind doing us a favor, we'll take this problem out of yours, and you know, we don't have to worry about it. And yeah, so you hear that, Max, as you come in. Panhu, you're obviously right there. I don't know if either one of you, what do you do?
I want to just clarify. So Matt says this to Panhu
Yes.
and is reaching down
to
for
grab
something?
to grab Rupa Day, who had fallen on the. Sorry, I think I forgot to mention. Who would sort of like was scrambling away and had fallen to the street. The street's like this is like that high noon moment in the Western, right? Like anyone who was on this, except for it's I think evening, right? It's nighttime.
Yep.
But like anyone who was on the street had disappeared inside. There are people peeking out of windows, right? Thinking about Maverick and James Garner. Yeah.
I'm gonna let Mona take the lead with Panhu because it seems like this is really their business and their territory.
Sure. So yeah, Panhu, what how do you respond to this?
Yeah, so I want to a quick question. Is Rupa they like are they human size or are they like smaller or
I'd say like not tiny, but like on a smaller human being, right? Like a noticeably short human being, like
yeah.
5 feet
Okay.
or like maybe 5 feet or less. So not like shocking, but short enough to notice, hey, that's a pretty short person.
Yeah. Okay. So wait, so do I know why they are after Lupa Day?
I mean, so I think knowing who Granite is, you could put 2 and 2 together, right? Because you know what.
Okay,
Well,
okay.
I mean, it's up to you. Let me ask you: Do you know what Rupa Day does? Do you know that they're like into this rebellion stuff, or have they not told you? I'll let you decide if you know that or not. I think that's.
I mean, if they are in my territory for a while, I think I would know.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, so then I mean, I think it's pretty easy for you to put 2 and 2 together when you see Granite come in, right? Who is an enforcer for this court, and and see them pursuing Rupa. You can be like, oh, I guess the chickens have come home to roost here, right? I know what this is about.
Yeah, I think I tell Mad Hurley that let me see. I think I tell him that well I think I want to put an end to a face with Matt Hurley too because I want to see if I know anything about him.
I mean, so you can do that, but I do want to stress, right, that the soft move of him reaching down and grabbing, right,
Right.
the person means that a failure on that, right, is probably gonna lead to something gnarly happening to the person to Rupa, right? I just want to make the stakes clear here, right? By taking the time to sort of like look over Matt, right? You're risking a failure risks something bad. So I just want to put that on. I just want to make sure that it's clear that that's on the table. But if you succeed, it won't matter.
Yeah, no, I guess I won't do that. I think so he's already reaching out, right?
Yeah, he's probably at this point, right? Like has an arm around Rupa's wrist, or or not even wrist, right? Like because he's got these gigantic hands, and Rupa's got this little arm, right? Probably all the way around, like fully wrapped around Rupa's bicep probably with no problem.
Yeah, so I think what I do is I hit their arm. I hit his arm with my billy club. Not in a way that's mean to injure him. It's just more like a teacher scouting a child kind of thing. And I say, well, it's up to me to decide what kind of trouble goes on in my territory.
Are you trying to persuade him with a threat?
Yeah, I think let's probably close because yeah.
Yeah. So and you have this move, right? That when you're in your territory trying to persuade someone with a threat, with threats or promises, you get to roll with blood instead of heart.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So you get roll with +3.
Let me get the dice.
And I'll read that basic move for people. When you persuade an NPC with seduction, promises, or threats, roll with heart, and then you get to do it with blood because you're in your territory and you have that move. On a hit, they see your point and do as you ask. On a 7 to 9, they counter your offer, demand payment, a debt, favor, resources before agreeing to follow through. And if you cash in a debt with the NPC before you roll, add +3 to your total.
Let me just roll. How did I get another 6? God damn it.
With a 6. Oh, yeah. Oh, so two things happen here. Okay. The first is Granite grabs your billy club and just breaks it. Right. With 2 hands, right? Just like breaks it. And I think this is the kind of thing where like it's not that you weren't. I want to make it clear, right? Like you're being your badass self, right? This isn't like a like you were being cool and threatening, right? And I think but I think you just were not like and I think it was just one of these things that just like seems so unthinkable in your territory, right? You're confident, you're in control, and then Granite just sort of like takes it and is like, nope, and so that's a piece of gear you no longer have. You have more powerful ways to hurt people in any case, and I think they just start like moving real quick, right? Moving real fast, saying Rupa's ours now. I don't know what kind of bullshit you're trying to pull here with a toy like that. And like they're moving fast. But Max, they move right by the sort of like side street that you're standing in, and they can't quite see you. What do you do?
So I think what I'd like to do is try to look at my stuff here. I'd like to.
You know what? Actually, I'm gonna add in one little wrinkle.
Yeah.
Rupa sees you and makes eye contact.
Yeah.
And is like, making clear, like, help me.
Right.
Help me. All right. There's like there's a genuine plea for help coming here.
Yes.
Max.
Okay. Perfect. So, can Max like do little, do wizards, can they do like little showy things like produce a tiny little flame or something?
Yeah. So if you look at your let it out abilities, right, so you can deflect or redirect an oncoming blow before it strikes, perform a feat of telekinetic strength or precision, detect the presence and function of magical items or spells, reshape the essence or nature of an exposed object or magical spell. So those are sort of like the basic let it out ability. I lean a little bit first edition, and like if you have other ideas that are like in fiction and make sense, I'm willing to you could do those too. But this was sort of the suggestions. Also, if you're sort of like trying to trigger a different move with something kind of magical.
Yeah.
Like talk to me about what that looks like, and we can
Sure.
figure it out.
What I'd like to do is do a mislead, distract, or trick with the hopes that I create an opportunity for Rupa to escape from these two, from the clutches of Hurley.
Yeah, I think that's totally fine. Tell me
Okay.
what that looks like.
Well, so I don't quite understand let it out. So when I let it out, is that a roll that I have to?
Yes.
Okay.
So the way it works, yes, you have to roll. You also activate corruption. If you hit, if you miss, you don't have to mark the corruption.
Okay.
But you also, if you hit, you mark corruption, and then you do the thing, and the thing happens.
Cool.
But what I'm saying is, I think if you want to like flavor, mislead, distract, or trick
Yes.
with like a spark or a little illusion in the corner of someone's eye or something, I'm cool with that. I think that's awesome.
Yep. Here's what it is. I'm going to perform a feat of telekinetic strength. There are some there's like kind of a wall it's a low wall at the top of a structure of bricks. The bricks have started to crumble and sag. And so she'd like to like make those bricks just kind of fall down suddenly over to the side to gain the like to get their attention quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think you have to roll let it out for that. I think like we can just make that like the thing that you're doing and roll
Cool.
mislead, distract, or trick.
Okay, cool.
I'm not going to make you roll twice. This is
okay. Very cool. So I'm rolling with bind, which is,
and then you'll get to choose one of these options or some of
depending
these
on what
options
happens,
from the mislead, distract, or trick thing.
All right, so 2d6 plus 1. Seven is
That's
one success or something.
That's a 7. I'm also an idiot. I'm sorry. I should have given you an opportunity to help out Panhu. So just a note to remember that that's an option when people are one off. I apologize. Panhu. You should have been able to be helped there.
So how does that work briefly?
So I forgot to put it. It's actually not in the character keeper, so it's a little confusing. But basically, you can there's a lend a hand or interfere. Right, is a move.
Perfect. So should we retcon that?
Hey, Panhu, do you want to rewind back to that? Are you cool with rewinding back to that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Perfect.
Great. So let's rewind back. So the way lend a hand works is when you lend a hand or get in the way, after a PC has rolled, roll with their circle. On a hit, give them a +2 or +1 or -2 to their roll.
Perfect.
On a 7 to 9, you expose yourself to danger, entanglement, or cost. Yeah. So So how are you? How are you helping? Is it the same thing, but as a show of force, like revealing yourself by doing this?
No, it's I think it's like okay, so it's when I start to sense that Granite is going to go for the baseball bat, the billy club, whatever it is, then at that point, Max causes this little cascade of bricks to distract them enough so that maybe that doesn't really follow through with what Panhu was doing, because Panhu was continuing to try to you were trying to intimidate them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That will work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that will work. Absolutely.
Okay.
So yeah, so roll plus your knight. Sorry,
Knight.
I wrong. Plus
wild?
your knight, which is unfortunately -1.
Is it knight or wild? Did we decide in the end?
Knight is knight. Yeah.
Okay.
We end up not changing that.
Got it. Knight. Okay. Thank you. So my knight is -1. Perfect. So let's see here.
About to say.
Oh no.
And that's a 1. Yeah, so this is the downside to failing on this roll.
Yes.
Right?
No, I'm included.
Which is, well, now you're included, right? But also, I mean, I think the main thing that happens here is just that I'm going to change it a little bit, right? So the thing that you do works, right? The bricks collapse, right? Granite is distracted for a second, doesn't grab the billy club. Panhu doesn't lose her billy club, right? But instead, hold on. Instead, what happens is, I apologize. Instead, what happens is I think they, these, I'm going to make it even worse, actually, because I think this hurts, right? Instead, Herlihy, just takes that, just takes that, claw, just takes that claw, and drives it through Rupa's throat. And says, "Now everybody's problem is solved." But right, but in that moment, Panhu, like I think they both are sort of like, okay, this is over now, right? And they just sort of like turn their back on you, right? They're not intimidated at all. They just kind of turn their back on you, and start to walk away, leaving this person that used to live in your territory, behind. What do you do?
Yeah. I think I tell them. I think I tell them, no, your problem has just begun.
And I mean, they're
Yeah.
they're ignoring you. They're going to keep walking away. They can move pretty fast. They're clearly right. If they wanted to fight you, they could try to fight you. So they're not, they're not necessarily eager for violence. But if you want to go after them, if you want to transform, you
Yeah.
can do that.
Yeah, I'm going to transform. It's to use let it out, right? Oh, I think we have established that it's near full moon.
Yeah, you don't have to use let it out to
So I
transform
don't.
right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Yeah, tell me what it looks like when you transform, and then we're going to cut over to Sabine and Abernathy. But I want to hear what it looks like when you transform.
Yeah. So I think. Yeah, so I think there's this. Hmm. Yeah, so I think. Yeah, I'm just going. So I think there's this like we see that there's this like glass bead between like in the middle of Panhu's chest, and so she
Mhm.
kind of press on it like it's a button, and then we see like glass something that looks like glass shards or like colorful sharp prison that kind of jigs out of her skin, and then like the shards kind of they are doing this kind of like kaleidoscope. There's this like kaleidoscope effect where like the shards kind of spin and expand and like starting to cover her body, and so like after, so like I think the whole effect it's a lot like seeing like a computer rendering like some kind of like digital color effect, and then like it's just like this like prison and like this color pattern like expand swirling and expanding, and like after a while we see like this creature that's vaguely like wolf or lupine shaped but has like jagged edges and like limbs at impossible angles, and like yeah.
That's very cool. Very cool. And so, Sabine and Abernathy. So we last saw you, I think, in Sabine's store, which is in Panhu's territory. We hadn't really established the timeline. Like you could be in the store while this is happening, or you could already have left to gone to do whatever you want to do. So I kind of want to leave each of you that option individually. Do you want to be around for this, or do you want to be off on your little journey?
I mean, Abernathy is straight up like oh, I'm just forgetting it. Riley isn't like is Riley. Okay, sorry. I think that was is Riley sticking around? Is Riley going with us, or is it?
I think
Okay.
Riley's long gone.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, Abernathy is immediately once Riley goes. Look, So this is going to come out harsher than I mean it, Sabine. But are you going to screw Riley over? I saw that. Are you going to screw Riley over? I'm asking.
Sabine kind of like lets out a fake hurt, like, I would never. My only interest is making sure both parties get their fair deal, and what Riley is asking for is going to be rather expensive.
Look, I'm just asking because I have my grandma and my siblings, you know that. But like I don't have a lot of people who I'm close to. And I want to make certain that you're not going to try to like buy Riley's soul or something.
I mean,
I just want to ask Abernathy a quick question before you answer, Sabine.
mhm.
Do you think that's intended as a moment of emotional intimacy?
I'm trying to make it, but if it depends.
I feel like
yeah.
I feel like you need to be reveal just like a little bit more personal. I don't know. It's your
Okay.
call in the end, but I if it's me.
I mean, I was just letting the scene play out a little bit before.
Let's let the scene. I apologize for interrupting. Let's let the scene play out and see where it goes. So Sabine, go ahead.
Yeah, I think like Sabine kind of has like initially a very sarcastic, like, oh, it's not that big of a deal look on her face, but then when you say, are you gonna try and buy his soul? It kind of just gets very serious and looks down and says, I've put that life behind me. I may hypothetically make deal, buy people out of house and home, but I don't actually buy people's souls anymore. And she has like a very, haunted look on her face. I've lived long enough that I've seen the effects that can have on people. That's not the life for me anymore.
I nod. Okay. Thank you, Sabine. I know I didn't mean to imply that you were that kind of person, but Riley is kind of an idiot, but he's an idiot that didn't ghost me like most of our friends when he went off to college. Of people I can count on, I feel like I can count on Riley, and I don't want to see him getting taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm. And I think like Sabine's trying to not have a emotional moment, so she's like stacking papers and like rifling, but it's unavoidable. And she says, Riley is a good person, but you are right. He is an idiot. Last time he helped with one of our shows, he almost, spilled drinks on one of the paintings, but he means well. Uh, he's a good friend to you, but you are also a good friend to him. This is a two-way street. Um, I'm gonna find this for Riley, and if you're concerned about whether he can afford it or not, maybe we could come to an agreement, work off some of the debt. I mean, I am open to such a thing. If there's anything you want in this situation, I can also, try and find it for you. Because full disclosure, out of game, I am also trying to trigger my intimacy move.
Okay.
So what that sounded like to me a little bit, so maybe I just misunderstood. It sounded a little bit the other way around, right? That Abernathy was kind of like reaching out to be intimate, and you were almost deflecting it into something transactional.
Oh, okay.
Did I misunderstand? I may have just misunderstood. That's fine. I just want to make sure I understand what you're doing. Right?
More just
the trigger is sharing a moment of intimacy, and then right then the stuff that happens after was a result of that.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
I may have misunderstood what you were trying to do there, which is fine.
No, you're good. More just Sabine thinks she's a lot cooler than she actually is, and is trying to hide her emotions but can't.
Got it. So how did she fail to hide them in this moment, I guess, is the question. How did she let Abernathy know that she's really feeling something here?
I think like she's been trying to be distracted and like act like she's, not paying attention, not that sort of thing. But then Abernathy kind of looks over her shoulder and sees that she's already sketched plans for the necklace. I think it was a necklace, right? That Riley wanted her to get.
Yeah.
Like has sketched plans for it, has a list of like people who might have something similar, and has already like put in a bunch of work in the small conversation that they've had.
Yeah. So I think if you folks want to trigger your intimacy moves, go ahead.
Yeah.
We'll do the aware first and then the imp.
Yeah. So let me jump over here. The when you share a moment of intimacy, physical or emotional, with someone who isn't mortal, who isn't mortal, I mark corruption. And from now on, I get to figure you out with heart instead of mind.
Okay.
Very cool. And now, Sabine, how about you?
Yeah. So mine is when you share a moment of intimacy with another person, promise to get them something they want without asking for anything in return. Give them a debt and take +1 ongoing to get whatever you've promised them. So I think in this discussion, Sabine will kind of ask like she'll kind of take pity or not pity, but like see, a softer side to you and say like, Riley's getting the necklace. I'm getting admittedly a lot of money. Is there anything you want out of all this?
I guess. Yeah, I'm looking at the necklace and like this necklace. I'm thinking about it. I don't know. I've been living. I've been kind of things have been so hand to mouth for me and Lola C for a while, but I guess so. Wait, who are the people that I forget who are the folks that Max is part of?
Max is connected to the Order of the Order of Crimson Truth.
Right. Do you know? It's a big ask, but do you know about the Order of the Crimson Truth?
I'm relatively familiar with them. Yes.
Are you or are you bullshitting?
50-50. Like she's probably like heard about it, but she's like, yes, I know well.
Got it.
I'm not entirely sure, but I think that they have something that used to belong to my family, and they're using it to hurt people. If you hear about anything like that, do you think you could pass along word to me?
She kind of thinks for a second. She's like, "You'll be the first person I tell, and it won't even cost you anything." It, like, pains her to say that. Yeah. You'll be the first person I tell.
And I think I give like another like kind of thought. And do you think Mr. Verde might be a lead for Verde might be a lead for this necklace thing? I don't know if this is someone you know, but there's someone that I have a debt on.
Oh, okay.
Which is why I brought them up.
Perfect. I think.
Yeah, I feel
Sabine.
like you must know them, Sabine. They're another like purveyor of magical artifacts. I feel like it can't be a big, industry.
That big of a community. Yeah. I think Sabine looks at her list and like realizes that wasn't one that was even on there, and just kind of goes like, "Oh,
yeah." If you want to put a face to a name on that, in order to like maybe know a little bit more, you certainly can.
Yeah, I will absolutely do that.
Great.
So
by the way, you should each mark each other's faction for triggering intimacy moves together.
Okay.
Yeah, I did that.
So I was gonna say, Sabine, you should mark Mortalis for this for what you're about to roll, but I realized you just did. So never mind.
Yeah. So put a face to a name. Roll with their circle. So are they Mortalis?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Where Mortalis is 1. Okay, I got a 9.
Yeah, so on 9, I'm put a name to a face. On a hit, their reputation. The MC will tell you what most people know about them. Yeah, so they're a purveyor of magical artifacts. They're probably actually they're much closer to the universe. Like you're sort of in the vicinity of the universe of Harvard, of Harvard Square, right? You're maybe right. You're maybe like a little ways away because this is a somewhat less nice neighborhood, but you don't have to go far.
Mm-hmm.
But they're probably like smack in the middle there, near the university, and they have like this antique store / rare bookstore that, like your store, is a purveyor of. They sell the rare, magical, strange, unique. That's very basic. I think people also sort of know, like everybody likes them, right? Which shouldn't be. I think you right, like there's something going on there, and like that somehow none of the factions in the city dislike them. They're not at odds with anyone. They can talk to everybody, and they're just like everyone's friend. Like even you, like hello, like they should be. There's a competitor, right? They're a competitor, but like, I don't know. I just kind of like them. They're not.
I mean, he pushed me in the way of a goal, and I still kind of like him.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like he does slimy shit sometimes, but that's who he is. What can you do? He's that kind of person. Right?
I'm just immediately getting a face cast for Lovejoy. That's what I'm getting.
Okay. And with that, let's take our first break, and then we'll cut back to Panhu and Max. And yeah, so we'll come back in 10 minutes at quarter after, and I will see you all then.
Okay, see ya.
Okay.
Hey Jesse, can I ask a couple of questions about the interaction that Sabine and Abernathy had?
Absolutely.
So, oh, looks like your mic switched. There you go.
Yeah.
So they were both trying to trigger intimacy moves, right?
Yes.
Did they make any other moves during the course of that I missed?
I
Like,
didn't catch any triggering. They could have. We didn't roll any. I don't know.
Yeah,
Right.
I could have technically maybe like made a roll to figure someone out, but I was more just deciding to like go what the fuck rather than than like try to actually do any thinking.
Okay, very cool.
Mhm.
Very cool. Awesome. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I mean, you definitely can have intimacy moves trigger across scenes where other moves are happening.
Yeah.
Um, you know, um, I once saw it happen after a physical fight between two PCs, right? Where like they got in a fight, someone got hurt, and then all of a sudden it was like, whoa, wait, that was that was kind of hot.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
it's a question of who the characters are and what their taste is, right?
Sure,
who the
yeah.
players are and what they're interested in exploring in their characters.
Right.
But like, if a moment of intimacy can happen anytime, anytime there's a connection between two characters. So, and
Excellent.
intimacy moves can trigger with NPCs too. Also,
Okay.
so don't it's not just I find they tend to happen more often between PCs. In my experience running Urban Shadows, but like they absolutely can and do happen between NPCs and PCs. In which case, only one intimacy move triggers because there's only one.
Right.
PC.
Okay. Cool.
I think in general, like you don't have a moment where an intimacy move happens and only one of the two PCs triggers it, right? Like a moment of intimacy is something that requires both characters to be intimate. You know. All right, is everyone back? It looks like everyone's back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Panhu, you have just transferred, and you're witnessing this, Max. Did you know that Panhu was a werewolf?
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked
If
about
that's
this.
okay with Panhu, since
Yeah,
they're-
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I actually think we'd already discussed this, and I just forgotten. Yeah. So you see Panhu transform, as these two, and Panhu, you're in your wolf form. I think they notice in the sense that like I think they're still kind of fronting, right? They've got Granite and Herlihy still have their backs to you, but especially in your wolf form with heightened senses, like you can tell, right? They're tensing up. They have magical senses of their own, right? They can. They're getting ready for a fight, even though they're kind of like fronting by not turning around to face you, which does give you a little bit of an advantage here, right? Like.
I just want to say they definitely notice because one of my weaknesses is that the transformation draws the attention of supernatural creatures.
Oh yeah, so they meaning they 100% know and are like tensing and getting ready for you to attack at a moment's notice. Yeah. So there is that. And you see this, Max. And you've also just witnessed this murder. It's a thing that happened too. So I don't. I mean, I'm kind of like leave it up to the two of you how you want to play this out. You definitely have like a moment of like you get to act here. They're not they are very clearly signaling that they are willing to walk away from this fight. Right? There doesn't have to be one from their perspective. But it's your territory. They just fucked up someone you were protecting, Panhu. In a real serious way. What's your play?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to simply turn to violence against Matt Hurley. Because he's the one that actually like did the like attacked Rupa Day, right? Like physically.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
So
you're just gonna how so you're gonna go after after Matthew, after Hurley.
yeah.
So what's that look like? How do you attack them?
Yeah, I think like I jump at them, and I think what happens is that I obviously I jump at their back, but like my claws actually like come up at a different angle than like maybe I jump like I am like facing down like toward them, but my claw somehow comes up at like from below them.
Yeah. Yeah. So go ahead and roll turn to violence.
Yeah, so it's still blood.
Still blood. I love this. I, they did such good work when they rewrote this for 2E. This is one of my favorite changes. It's such a good move. Sorry.
Yeah, I got an 8, so
You got an 8. So on a hit, you inflict harm as established. So what? Let me just take a quick look. What does your so you get +1 harm, right, and +1 armor, and your harm is armor piercing and messy. Yeah, and not that Matthew has any armor at all, actually, but messy is real. And you also fight like a small group against groups. So even if you were going up against the two of them, yeah. So hold on one second. I just want. Does it say anywhere what your base harm in your transformed state
yeah,
is?
it's 2.
It's 2, right? So you're doing 3 harm then right away, and like I think you like Matt Matt turns around, like as you're like doing that, making that, like you described it as kind of like an uppercut claw attack, right, coming up from below. Um,
Yeah.
and I think what happens is actually like you come up and you don't quite get like right in up under. And if anyone wants to stop me in terms of description, I'm gonna get let me just take a look at quick look at lines and veils. Okay, good. No, nothing against any of this stuff. So 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 I'm gonna get a little gory here. If folks want me to stop back, just say so. But your goes like comes up the side, like claws up his entire side. You don't quite get in, like it sounds like you're trying to like get in like under his rib cage, and you don't quite do that because he's turning. But you get his side and you like dig deep, cut in, like your hand is like inside his side with your claws, right? And that's 3 harm there, to him, as he looks at you and growls and roars, with pain, but at the same time, because now he gets to make a choice, at the same time, um, I think what he does actually, as he's like howling and grimacing, um uh he he grabs your wrist, so that you're and like twists his body a little bit so that your arm is actually kind of like stuck inside him, right, and you're like pulled in close to him, um and that's a bad spot because that's his choice. He's putting you in a bad spot, um because now Granite, um, with her massive stone fist is gonna is is turning, and he's got you teed up for that hit. And Max, you see this happening, right? You're right there. You have a set. You have time. What do you do? Um,
So if I let it out to deflect or redirect an oncoming blow, can I do that not just against myself, but
absolutely, absolutely, you can
okay,
absolutely do that. Um, uh, um, yep, you can absolutely do that.
cool. So let it out, and so roll with spirit.
Yeah. I'm looking at your spells just because I'm curious what they are.
I do have some spells. I mean, I
yeah.
have some other things I could do, but
Yeah, no. This absolutely works.
okay.
This absolutely works. Yeah.
Okay.
So go ahead and roll with spirit.
Here we go.
The consequence is going to be some harm to Panhu, but like if
Yeah.
you fail. But
Panhu's good with that. Oh wow.
what did you roll?
What the heck? I rolled a 5 total.
5
to let it out. So that's
so
that's not going to work.
Here it works. It works in that your magic works,
Mhm.
right? Tell me, like, magically, how were you trying to do this? Like, what was was it wind? Like, what was it? Was it like a telekinetic thing? Was it like what was it exactly? And what does it look like? How do you cast this spell? Like,
Yeah,
how do
so
you, not a spell exactly, but how do you trigger this power?
so she's trying to actually get Granite's attention. So she's doing this kind of as a telekinesis, just to like ward the blow with like an invisible force against Granite's arm, and trying to catch his eyes. And she says no, as if to suggest that they're to leave it to these two. But of course, it doesn't stop it.
Yeah, so it works. Like it works in the sense that like the telekinetic power, like is effective and pushes Granite's hand, right? Like you don't fail to do your magic, but Granite's a rock troll,
Mm-hmm.
so both a magical creature and like just solid and strong, and so like I think she's able to sort of like flow with it, right? And so she rides that telekinetic wave almost that like it starts to deflect, but she kind of like hops on it, and so her fist doesn't land where she intended it to land, which was like smack up like an uppercut to Panhu's chin,
Mm-hmm.
because Panhu is much taller in wolf form than no, well, yeah, than even Granite, but instead, like it ends up going low, hard into Panhu's gut, and so Panhu, you would normally take 3 harm from this because Granite hits real hard, but you have +1 armor, so you take 2 harm, and kind of double over.
Yeah, I mean, I have 2 armor, right?
Oh, it says you are massive. You gain armor +1 and harm +1. Where's the second armor?
The
Your natural wolf
transformation.
form has 1 armor. I apologize. Then yeah, so take
Yeah,
1
yeah.
harm. So take 1 harm. Take 1 harm for that. So it doesn't do much to you in the end. You know, as tough as Granite is, you're pretty fucking tough too. And yeah, so how do you react with your arms still kind of stuck, right? You're still caught between the 2 of them, but you can fight the 2 of you. They're a small group, and you can take on 2 at once because that's who you are.
Yeah, I think I want. Yeah, I want to intimidate Granite instead.
Yeah, tell me
Yeah,
how you
because
do it.
I think I think first like
situation. It's probably not hard.
I made like my intention clear. I start by saying this one killed someone under my protection, so I cannot let him live alive. But then I turn to Granite and say, "But you, I heard you likes to audit human classes at the university. Wouldn't it be a terrible shame if the beast consider you a threat to their domain too?"
Oh, that's so good. Are you okay? Here's a question. Um, I'll let you if you want. So there's 2 things you can do here. We can roll intimidate. Okay.
Yeah.
And just do that. Or if you just, I think if you want to pull on your debt with the beast,
Oh,
right?
right.
You can just do that
Oh,
and
wait.
like have this
I
and
get
have
a
this
depth
be
with
true, right?
I get depth with the NPCs too.
Yeah, you by through your relate right. We talked about the beast in the university. You have a debt on the beast. You currently
Oh
have a
yeah,
debt
yeah.
on the beast, right? So if you want to like, we can do this sort of like in absentia, right? You can sort of you'll have this conversation with them at some point. But in the meantime, like if you want to just sort of cash in that debt here to say like and this like and have it just be true that the beast will keep granted away if they don't back off. um I'm gonna you don't have to roll for that, right?
Yeah,
She'll
yeah,
back
yeah.
down.
Then I will do that. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so spend your debt, and then mark, if you haven't yet, mark wild.
I already did so. Yeah.
I don't, yeah, okay. So and she's like, fuck, you're friends with that thing? All right. I don't give a shit about this wolf anyway. It's just business. I'm out. Good luck. Good luck, Hurley. And and they just take off. You know, they just they just take off. Uh, I think at that, right, you see Matt's face fall and be like, look, like you're caught with them, but they're caught with you. Um, uh, Look, you got me. You got me here. I'm just let me go. I would owe you so big. I would owe you so big. Just let me free. I was just doing what I was told to do by her bosses. My boss too, but like that was the Twilight Court that put that hit out. Let me go. Just let me go. I'll owe you one.
Yeah,
And you can what do you do, Panhu?
yeah, I think I pretend to think about it for a while, and then I growl and I said, don't like don't show up uninvited again, or I will finish this.
Yeah, and he lets go of you so that you can sort of like release your arm from his innards, and
Yeah.
kind of like limps off, clutching his side. But he's a werewolf. He'll heal up pretty fast. He'll be okay, right? And he just sort of like limps off, dripping, probably like, I don't know, like black green ichor. Right? These are not. He doesn't bleed blood in his wolf form. And you're left. Um, um, yeah.
So do I get a debt with him too?
Yes, he now owes you a debt.
Okay. So that means I can mark night, right?
Correct. You can mark night.
Okay, okay.
Hold on. Let me double check that. Do you mark a debt you mark one for cashing one in?
No, you only mark a debt for cashing in a
Yeah,
debt.
you don't mark
Oh,
it
yeah.
for getting a new one. You mark it
Yeah,
for
yeah,
cashing.
not yet. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So not yet, but when you cash it in, you'll totally be able to mark
Yeah,
night.
no, that's fine. It's fine. I'm just wondering.
Yeah. Uh hmm. Yeah, so I think what happens next. So first of all, the two of you are sort of like looking at each other. I don't know if you want to have a conversation about what just happened here. But certainly uh the next thing that happens is uh I think someone who lives in your territory, Banhu, um uh um another Fae. Um, um, Not a Fae, no, someone else. Um, uh, a human-looking person runs out of the house where Rupa lived, and is like sobbing over their body. And this is Andrea. call her Andrea Mintz. They, who was apparently friends with Rupa, and so is over there or something. You don't know. I guess you would know. They live in your territory. He lives in your territory. This was Rupa's friend and roommate. That's basically what you know about him, about who. And I think with that, we'll cut back to Abernathy and Sabine. And Abernathy, Sabine, can you hear me? Yeah,
I can hear you. I thought that you were gonna. I was waiting to see if you had anything to say.
So I mean, I think we just had that moment of intimacy. Again, if you want to have been nearby while all of this was happening, like we haven't timed out exactly, or if you just want to start pursuing, you've got all these leads now, right? You've got the werewolf gang, you've got the other antiquities dealer. Like you could just sort of follow some of your leads also if you want.
I mean, yeah, Abernathy was going to hit up the antiquities dealer unless like Sabine had any thoughts for what Abernathy should be doing.
No, I think that makes sense. I think Sabine would, if anything, would ask like, "Do you want me there? Will you deal with that, or do you think having a stranger would complicate things?"
I mean, Oh, you. I thought you haven't
you
worked
know
with
them
them before.
I mean, I've worked with them, but they're great, but they're competition.
I mean, they're great. They're great,
so great,
aren't they?
Love them, but they're still competition.
Oh well, yeah. Should I should I say that you're wishing them the best?
Oh yeah, but like, don't make it like too needy or anything. Just like
Okay.
casual, like, how's it going?
Just like casual. Okay, right.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So are you hitting the streets with them?
Yeah, I'm
Or is there
hitting the
something else
streets.
happening?
No, I'm hitting the
Sure.
streets. I have a thing. When I hit the streets to get what I want from a member of my circle, I get to roll with heart instead of their circle. I still mark my circle though, I believe.
Yes. No, you definitely do. There's no reason to not do
Yeah.
that. So yeah, you roll with Mortalis. Or sorry, you roll with heart rather. Yeah.
Yep. Let me bring this up here.
Mhm.
That's an 11.
That is an 11 on hit the streets. When you get an 11,
We got a full hit. A full hit.
on a hit, yeah, they are available and have the stuff. So what is the stuff? What exactly are you looking for here? You know they don't have the necklace, right? Because you know that the werewolves have it, right? So that's not a thing they can have. But like, are you looking for information? Are you looking for?
I feel like so. I mean, how much do we want to piss off? I guess this is my thought. How much do we want to piss off these werewolves, Sabine? Because I thought if we could get like a nice facsimile of the necklace and then switch it out with the werewolves.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah. Yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're talking to Aloy, and there's all the small talk, completely ignoring the ghoul thing. Doesn't come up, right? But
Aloy
Aloy's
obviously
always-
is the cool thing.
Yeah. What?
Aloy is the cool thing, obviously, because
Aloy
he's so
is-
great.
Yeah. But lots of small. How's your family? How's Lola C? Right. Your little sister.
Doing good.
Yeah.
So Sabine, totally casual. Sabine just wanted to say hi.
Oh yeah, it's always Sabine's the best. Love her. She always has exactly what I need. Yeah, well, we're
I mean, not as much as
competition,
me
but,
though,
like,
right? I mean, nothing.
like we're competition, but sometimes we can work together. I get things for her, she gets things for me. A little markup on either end, everybody wins. Not going to mark anything up for you. We're friends, of course.
I laugh at this, even though it was clearly a really bad joke.
Yeah, no, it's not funny at all. He's like, so you're telling me you want you want a you want a facsimile? You want like a fake of this necklace?
Yeah.
Necklace is pretty big. Like I can make something that looks like it. I don't know it can do
Look,
anything.
I mean, yeah, and I don't want to make a thing of it because you're already forgiven, but you did kind of push me into the way
No,
of that
no, it's not
ghoul.
gonna. It's not gonna. No, it just regular prices. We don't have to talk about that, right? And you don't have to cash in your debt to get this. This is you
Oh,
got this.
okay.
You got this for your hits. I guess
Well, no, because like hitting the streets is like just to
it's
decide, see if they're
available.
there.
Yeah, it's available. No,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. I think. Yeah. You know what? I did. It wasn't. It was a misunderstanding. Just a misunderstanding.
I know.
But yeah, you're right. This on the house because of our relationship, because we're friends, right? Because I maybe fucked up once by mistake, and I want to make that right with you. Got to make it right. So we'll make it right. This person is like oddly Brooklyn in Cambridge, Massachusetts. That's just fine. Well, I've been around. So we'll make it right. It will all be good. Yeah. So cash in that debt. And yeah, he says he'll have it for you. He'll have it for you. He'll have it for you whenever you need. Just let him. Just let him know. Just let him know. I think. You know what? No, we're gonna wait on that. So Sabine. So while Abernathy has gone to get this necklace facsimile, this necklace forgery, right? What a facsimile? A facsimile is something that is not designed to trick anyone. A forgery is designed to trick someone. Otherwise, they're the exact same thing.
Abernathy doesn't understand the difference in those words.
I understand. This is me saying that. Anyways, Sabine. So while Abernathy is off tracking down your forgery, excuse me, facsimile. What are you up to?
Yeah, I think while they're doing that, Sabine's kind of going to the. I think was it a warehouse that we thought the necklace was being held at?
Well, so you don't really know, right? So
Okay.
the like the Ryan mob, right, has a warehouse. They have they have this like secret vault that in Fae, like sort of in the Fae, right?
Mhm.
That you learned from your customer, right? That they sort of keep their most valuable stuff in. But and they have a warehouse. You could definitely go and sneak into their warehouse and check that shit out. Or you can there's like a bar that which brother is it that I don't have his name here.
Was it Danny?
Sorry,
Danny.
Danny. It's Danny.
Okay.
Not Patrick. Danny. That Danny Ryan like hangs out in and keeps and sort of does business in.
Okay.
If you want to just like go talk to Danny.
Yeah, I was looking at the moves, and there's the study of place of power. So like,
yeah,
I was thinking
the bar is definitely a place of power. By the way, like it's the seat of this faction.
Perfect.
The warehouse is probably less so. The warehouse is a little bit more of just a warehouse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think when Abernathy goes to get the not forgery, Sabine goes to the bar, and like as she's walking, she's kind of
calling the bar O'Flanagan's because it has to be as stereotypical as possible.
Perfect. She like takes off her blazer, kind of like messes up her hair, maybe smudges her eyeliner, leans into more of the like punk side of her, like punk business casual outfit.
Yeah.
and I think goes to the bar and like orders a drink, sits, at like corner of a table, tries to like study to figure out who's part of the mob, who's not, who might have access to like a
Yeah.
potential night court stash.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Danny Ryan's sitting in the corner.
Mhm.
Booth. Right. It's like I'm imagining this is though a little bit later.
Mhm.
Because I think we're gonna have, I think one of the things you see happen as you're sitting there, right, is that this guy walks in, like clearly heavily wearing like a pinstripe suit, 3-piece suit. It's kind of the Tex Avery Wolf suit, if you know what I'm talking, kind of oversized, right? Here, I'll put an image in the chat. Is for Avery Wolf, just so that folks who don't know what that means know what that means. Tex Avery Wolves wear tuxedo. Oh no, it's this one. It's this one. Not quite a tuxedo. Copy image. Paste. That's the wrong thing. Anyways, it doesn't matter. It's like a kind of oversized suit. Kind of an oversized suit, bow tie, but like one side is clearly like bulked up and kind of bandaged, right? And maybe you could even see like a little bit of blood starting to seep through, like badly injured. But I'm saying they're a werewolf. By tomorrow they'll be fine, right?
Okay.
But like walks in and like kind of gets into a little argument with Danny. There's a couple other folks all in these same sort of like, suits. You've already put a name to a face on him. You know who he is. My guess is that like have you ever done business with the Werewolf Mafia before? The Irish Werewolf Mob?
Probably, yeah. I think there's definitely been.
Yeah, so like he might not recognize you right off the bat, but if you go over to talk to him, he'll know you by reputation.
Okay.
Kind of thing. Right, this is the kind of place the city is. But yeah, so if you're trying to study a place of power, go ahead and roll with night.
Okay. So my night is 1. So I got an 8.
Right. So mark night also if you haven't done it yet. But yeah, so on a hit, you see below the surface the reality underneath. The MC will reveal an area, NPC, or item within that is not what it seems. Yeah, I mean, so I think the thing that you sort of notice as you're, and I think this is almost like your demonic instincts kicking in, right? This is a supernatural sense you get that you can sort of like, you're from somewhere else originally, right? You're not from this plane. And so you can kind of get a sense of where the barrier between worlds is thin.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a painting on the wall. It's dogs playing poker. Like the cheapest reproduction of dogs playing poker ever on that wall. And I think like you can tell, and again, you put together with what you already know, right? That there's like a way to access, right? Like a pocket dimension of the Fae on the other, like through that painting somehow, right?
Okay.
Which is, you could put 2 and 2 together, right? That's that's the safe, that's the vault, right? It's there, it's here in the bar, in the public room of the bar, probably on the wall right above where Danny is sitting.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, and I think Sabine's trying to get like as inconspicuously close to the painting as possible, so probably goes up.
I mean, like it's right over the booth, right? You can't get inconspicuously close to the painting without sitting down next to, like, at the booth with Danny and his goons.
That's true, and he's currently in an argument.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, you can wait for the argument's not going to take a long time, right? Like, you can wait for that to sort of settle down if you want to go over and say hi.
Mm-hmm. I think, let's see, because my plan initially was just to like scope out the place and then do the stereotypical.
I mean, I think. Look, I think at this point, right? Just so you know, like you've been there, you've been doing. People will know you've been there.
Yep.
right? I think that's just, you are who you are, they are who they are, and like, hey, we're like Sabine from the store. She always
Mhm.
gets us that good that like that magical ammo when we need it.
Mhm.
You know, like
Um, I think in that case, I will basically like make myself known to Danny, but in the professional, polite, like, I'm here, I'm just waiting for your meeting to be over type thing. And like, kind
yeah,
of nods
yeah. I
hello
mean,
at him.
he's like make eye contact. I think he like very quickly like waves you over. He's like, come on over, have a drink. Very friendly. Very friendly, thick Boston accent.
Mhm.
Um, again, like this is, I'm not gonna like beat around the bush. This is like a Whitey Bulger stand-in. If you know the history of the Boston mob, so just like this thick Boston accent.
Okay. Yeah, and when I like sit down with him, I'll kind of talk and basically say like, "Oh, I was just here, enjoying a drink after a long day's work, and couldn't help but notice the colorful artwork that you have on display, and was thinking, I'm a gallery. I work with a lot of local artists. It might benefit you to liven things up a bit. Might bring in some more clientele." And I'll like make it seem like I'm just here to try and like sell him some stuff and potentially actually sell him some stuff and make some money.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, I kind of like this piece of shit though. I mean, it's like, I know it's like not classically good art. I'm not going to try to do a Boston accent for too much of this. But like, yeah, I know it's not classically good art. I had to say that word. But it's tacky, but it smells like home. It's the kind of place this is. It lets people know, well, this is the kind of place, and we're the kind of guys who like dogs play poker.
Yeah, and I mean, it's great. It's wonderful if you're into that sort of thing, but there's a lot of other stuff, and
Yeah,
I'll kind of like,
look. Maybe you got something for my house. My lady loves fine art. I could bring her by the gallery.
hmm,
We could show some stuff. If you got something there, like, but like not for the bar.
okay. I mean, yeah, for your house, absolutely. If your lady's a purveyor of fine art, does she like anything like this? And I am gonna try and like, I probably have like one of those low magnifying glasses that I use to like examine stuff up close and the quality. And I want to like
Yeah,
go
sure.
up to the painting and just like examine it and critique to him like, oh, they have nice
Like
brushstrokes.
I want to be real clear, right? You're not gonna like
Yeah.
fool. Like this is, like I said, this is a reproduction of dogs playing poker,
Yeah. Oh
right?
yeah, for sure.
Like it's right. Like he's gonna ask you do that. He's gonna ask you what kind of game you're playing,
Hmm.
right?
Um,
He's like, are you making fun of me now?
oh,
What I know I know what this is.
I just think, the important part of getting someone what they want and getting a good deal is knowing like what it is they want.
Well,
Like,
she's not into trash like that. I'm into
oh, thank
trash
God.
like this. My boys, they're into trash like this. She likes the finer things in life. That's why we're talking here.
Oh, okay, so she has taste. I mean, different taste.
Oh, she has
Uh,
taste. I respect that. Thank you. You should speak your truth.
mhm. And Sabine will like keep talking for a bit and keep an eye on the painting just to kind of try and see if she can figure out like how to
Are
get
you
to
trying to
that.
like what are you trying to figure him out? Are you trying to do something for
Yeah, I
me?
think what is the can you figure someone out but on like an object? Because I guess I'm trying to like examine the object to
No,
see.
well, I mean, so you sort of got that right
Yeah.
with the explorer place of power. You're not going to
Okay.
get more out of like looking like
Oh, okay.
you tell me what you're trying to learn about this painting.
Okay.
Like the mechanism for getting it open or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Yep.
I mean, I don't think you need to do,
Okay.
I don't think you need to do an extra physical examination here, right? Like there's no like special secret lock or anything that visual examination is going to really give you, right? Like it's a magical thing,
Okay.
right? There's a spell or a ritual, or maybe he has a magic object. Like being, I think the way
Yeah, and
sorry.
I was just gonna say you also have sniff out a secret stash, even when expertly concealed or hidden, as one of your let it out options.
Right. Oh, that's true.
yeah.
You could definitely let it out to learn a little bit more about this.
Okay.
I think that would work for sure. I mean, the other thing to sort of remember is like, you know what? I think he's just going to do it. I think he's just going to say, listen, Sabine.
Yeah.
I like you. And I appreciate that you're offering to sell my lady, me some art for my lady, but stop beating around the bush. You want something. You don't just show up at this bar and come talk to me just to make conversation at the end of the hard day. You want something. So we get along. I'm going back to Aloy again. Sorry. He's like, he's like, so talk straight to me. What do you want? Maybe I can get it for you. I'm good at getting things, and so are you. You got a customer who needs something that only I can offer? You got a customer who's giving you a hard time. You maybe need... you have a bodyguard, right? You have a werewolf bodyguard. Did you bring them with you?
I think they're probably like in like the coffee shop or like late night, place across the street, basically
Sure.
waiting if I text if I need something.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So you're by yourself. It's like, you don't like, what do you need? Like, we're both business people. You don't have to play these games with art. I mean, I'm happy to buy art. You want to sell art? Bring my lady to the gallery. We'll take it out. But there's something more going on here. So tell me, what do you want?
And I think at that, like, Sabine will kind of like shift her disposition and just goes very professional. And it's like, okay, let's talk deals then. And let's see, let me think what you can come up with. So I have a move for when I figure someone out. I have extra questions. One is, what's the most valuable thing that you'd offer for sale?
Yeah, you can definitely try and figure someone out here.
Yeah, so I think she like maybe heard a rumor that he has something in addition to the necklace that like would be valuable. So like she kind of like uses that.
Yeah. Sure. Go ahead and roll figure someone out.
So that is with mind.
That is with mind, yes. And then from there we'll cut back to Panhu and Max. I was hoping to get these PCs switched out before the end of the session. So we'll see what happens after this. But I just want to flag that so that we get some more mixing and matching of PC groups.
Okay. Got an 11.
Got an 11. That is fantastic. On a 10 plus on figure someone out. You get to ask 2 questions. Including those extra 2 that you have. So one of them that you said you wanted to ask is, what's the most valuable thing you'd offer for sale?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think if you ask me, he's like, the most valuable thing I can offer for sale. I mean, you want me to be brutally honest? My people services. You want someone dead? You want someone hurt? You want someone scared? We can do that for you. We can do that for you easy. I know you got your wolf. I know you got your little puppy. But let me tell you, we do it faster. We do it better. And if you need it to happen, not attached to you, no one knows you had anything to do with it, we can do that too.
Can you retrieve stuff and can you do it discreetly?
I mean, it's not exactly our forte. I feel like you're better at that than us, but if we could make it happen.
Okay.
If we need to. But it's not. It's let's say it's not the most valuable thing I offer.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And you get a second question also.
Yeah. I think my second question will be. How could I put your character in my debt?
How can I put? I mean, this is a little bit what pressing need you have that I can address also, right? But it's like, I got. Look. That that the cops are always giving me a hard time. And like, no, better. Rewind.
Mhm.
Look, you know that wolf that lives up near you, Hanhu.
I'm familiar with them.
She had a little beef with one of my boys.
Mhm.
I definitely owe you one. If you could just talk to her, let her know it was just business. We have no issue with her as a person or her territory anymore. And we can keep this cordial.
And so we don't make a big show of like, ooh, that's a lot to ask for. But I mean, if I I like to.
I think it's a little bit harder. The implication is, right, and like talk her down from coming after them for revenge, right? Like it's not just about like saying it. Like this is if you make your best effort to prevent the revenge from happening, right? This isn't just the message. This is make the effort too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll like make a show of like thinking and debating on it, and she'll say like, I'll see what I can do, business person to business person.
Are you saying yes? Are you accepting that debt?
Yes, I will accept that
Yep.
debt.
Great. So you now have a debt from Danny Ryan.
Perfect. And then I will like take out a card and like slide it over to him and say like, make sure your lady gets this, and you have yourself a good day.
Great. All right, let's take our next break now for 5. Because I gotta let my dog out, and then in 5 we'll come back to Max and Panhu, sort of see how that plays out, and maybe try and shift up some of these combinations. Okay, sorry about that. For being a little bit late.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So there you are, Panhu and Max. You know, the aftermath of this bloody battle. Um, uh, Rupa dead, Andrea, sort of leaning over their body. What do you do?
I think at this point, Max walks over to Rupa's body and she kind of squats down by the body and is looking at the wound that she died from. And so there are no rules affecting like what kind of weapon can damage this fey or anything, right?
I mean, look,
bone
I
thing
think
did it in.
they're probably have uh, a certain amount of immunity, but this werewolf claw,
Yeah,
was
just did her in.
enough to do it.
Yep.
I think about a regular steel bullet might not, although cold iron maybe, right? But you've got a werewolf bone claw,
Yeah.
was enough. At least for now. Who knows? Magic's a crazy thing.
So I think that she's going to put a hand on Andrea's shoulder and tries to comfort them a little bit.
They're like, "Who the hell are you?" I guess unless you want to put a name to a face here, and see if you have a pre-existing relationship.
Yeah.
Of some kind.
Sure, let's do that.
Yeah, sure. Because I mean, everyone's a significant character.
Right.
Yeah, sure. So go ahead and roll plus Mortalis.
Okay.
Andrea is immortal. And you can mark Mortalis as well if you have not already.
Okay. +1 then. Okay, a 7.
That's a 7. That's pretty good. You know what people know about them. Yeah. Like, so Andrea lives here in Panhu's territory.
Mm-hmm.
He's a kind of a from what you know, he's kind of like a normalish guy. You know what? No, but he's not a normalish guy. He's a cop.
Okay.
He's a cop, not high up, not important. A sergeant. I don't know. But I think as with anyone else, like he does work the supernatural. Actually, I want to walk that back, like, because Panhu, this is your territory and this is the area you patrol. Would you be comfortable with having a cop living here? Because if you're not, I can retcon that.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little weird.
Okay,
Yeah.
meaning what?
I mean, we have established it's kind of impoverished neighborhood, and
Sure.
I feel like people won't generally like having cops around. So
Absolutely. Yeah. So
unless like he's really, I don't know, like he make a lot of effort to, oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Let's walk that back. I think he's someone who is like known to be curious about the supernatural. He's friends with Rupa. I don't think they're lovers, but they're close, right? Kind of involved with like learning with if we were gonna give them, they don't have a playbook. If we're gonna give them a playbook, they're kind of aware-ish. You know what I mean? There's someone who's kind of like on the fringe of the supernatural world, interested in it. maybe even involved with a group of people that investigates them. Although you don't know that for sure, it wouldn't surprise you, right? But they're one of these supernatural, curious human beings. Maybe part of what attracted him to Panhu's.
Hey, I have an idea. So
Yeah.
like I think he probably isn't a cop, but I feel like it's possible that maybe he does some like part-time consulting work for like the supernatural division.
Yeah, I think we can get there. Like that's certainly like, yeah, he's certainly, in his capacity as someone who like has explored the supernatural, he does that kind of consulting. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
um, and yeah, so that's what you know about him. He's friends with Rupa. Right, that's another thing that's kind of obvious. He's there. He's in tears. I think as you're trying to kind of like comfort him, Max, he like shoves you back and he looks up at Panhu. And he's like, isn't your job to protect the people? Not your job. That's the way to say it. Like, aren't you supposed to protect the people who live here? Rupa came home because I guess he knows you're here. And what did you do for him? For them, excuse me. Like tears streaming down this guy's his face. I think are you deliberately being silent, Panhu? I just want to check in on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I think as you don't respond, he says, "I want you to promise me you'll swear revenge. You'll get back the people who did this to him."
yeah, I think I said that I will find who's behind this.
You know who's behind this. You watch them do it. It wasn't a secret. It happened right here in the middle of the street. I saw you tried to fight it first, but you just let them go. You just let them go. And he dissolves in tears.
Um, so Max is kind of watching this exchange, and can I ask again what do we know about the Twilight Court specifically? They like to audit classes.
Just that
They
one person. You don't know very much. It's a fake court, right? They're sort of
Yep.
like they're I guess kind of Boston adjacent.
Sure.
Panhu probably knows that there's a faction there that's trying to rebel against the current leadership, right? Because that's what Rupa was involved with,
So
right?
so they're not trying to overthrow the Twilight Court as a whole. They're trying to just like take control of it themselves.
I mean, I think so. I think that's certainly what it seemed like,
Okay.
But like out of it's not. I think like the internal dynamics of fate politics are confusing and complicated.
Sure.
Like I think it had like a real revolutionary vibe,
Mhm.
as opposed like it wasn't. It wasn't like, and again, this is stuff Panhu probably knows to some extent from talking to Rupa. I don't know whether Max, you know this necessarily. You can if you want to. I'm not, if you think it makes sense. But like the sort of the in it. I think what Panhu knows is that there's this like it's not just about putting a new queen on the throne, right? But it's about reimagining, right, what a fairy court can look like without that kind of hierarchy, right? It's like legitimately revolutionary in some ways, or at least that's how they talk. Like, yeah, like if you've listened to any of well, any of Rupa's student broadcasts, he hasn't been like explicit about applying this to the fake court, all of that stuff is sort of set in code, right? But
Mhm.
when he talks about politics, it's definitely like a kind of like anarchist kind of deal. Um, um,
So I think that Max doesn't have any particular skin in this game, and I don't think there's anything that she can do to reverse this death. So uh so she's just gonna kind of step back and wait for an opportunity, I guess, to talk to Pan Hu, although now is not the best time to bring up probably the issue that she was here for, so she'll bide her time.
Yeah, you can hold on to that if you want. But I think Andrea is gonna like look at you. Can you at least help me get them inside? And we don't have to play this out, right? But like Andrea
Yeah.
wants to get them inside and then call Rupa's people and sort of take care of what has to happen.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, and I think they turn around and give one last look to you, Panhu, and they say, um, you better, you know what's right. You know what's right. Um, um, and like, I'm going to say this is up to you, Penhu, if you want to do anything with this or not. You can just sort of let it hang as something in the fiction. But I do think there's sort of like implied, like if you agree if you agree to sort of take revenge on these killers, like Andrea will owe you a debt.
Yeah, yeah. I think, but I want to reframe it. I think
Yeah, absolutely.
I think what Penhu said is that, you know what Lupa was into, and I think you also know like those guys are just hired muscle. Like we both know, like Lupa knew the cost and the danger of what he's doing, and I think the best way to avenge them and honor them is to finish what they started and take this actually to the people behind everything.
Andrea sort of sniffs and says, I don't give a shit about any of Rupa's political stuff. You wanna take down the Twilight Queen? You can do that. That's on you. I saw the person who put their claw through my friend's chest, and that's who I want to see go down. Um, uh, and if you want to take up Rupa's mission and do all that, well, great, good for you. You should do that. I'm sure Rupa would appreciate it. That's not what I'm asking. Right, and you can see now that it's like almost like a selfish thing Andrea is asking, right? Right. It's not so much for Rupa as for them, but it's real. um, and they, and they, and then Max, if you're willing to help, sort of like bring Rupa back into the house. I think unless you have something you want to sort of reframe or follow up with that, Panhu, I think that's seen. But if you want to,
Yeah,
sort of
it's
like,
fine, it's fine. Yeah,
yeah, great. Okay. Um, so we've kind of got everybody like a little bit now free. We can cut to the next morning. We can have continued actions at night. The folks have things they want to do here, people they want scenes with. I know. I can also hard frame some stuff. I have some ideas that's connected to the things you're already doing. Um, One thing I will say, right, is that like, if you're trying to do stuff, you can definitely like call in debts on each other to get you. I mean, you can go and ask and agree amicably, but also, if you're doing someone a favor, that's going to get exchanged regardless, because that's how the game works. You don't have to it doesn't have to feel like a push, but it can be used as a push. So yeah, do folks have thoughts about where they want to go next? I'm also just sort of looking at the factions people have checked to see who you might want to be in scenes with. Anybody? I know Sabine and Abernathy. Let's say Abernathy, because it's been the longest since we've seen you on camera. Abernathy, do you have anyone you want to see? Any other PCs you want to scene with? Anything you want to have happen the next day, that night?
Actually, because I was sort of thinking about how to kind of cross over with some of the other characters, and I'm not immediately thinking of what would immediately push Abernathy over there, but maybe there's something involving Lily that might pull Abernathy in.
That's kind of what I was thinking, right?
Yeah.
Actually, because I think you get a phone call from Lily, later that night. It's probably maybe when Sabine's at the bar, right? Max has made her way home, right? After a little bit after dinner.
I think the phone starts going off, and Abernathy rolls, wakes up and rolls, falls out of the couch they were sleeping in, which we've established they it's a 2-bedroom, and they sleep on the couch.
Yeah. Can you come over? I mean, I got a favor to ask you. I don't want to do it over the phone.
Okay. Let me put something on, and I kind of look between several of my sweatshirts laying on the floor, and pick up the least dirty one, and throw it on.
Yeah. So she lets you in, and I think Max, you hear the door open. I don't know, are you up late, working on something? What's your evening routine?
Yeah. So one of the questions that I had, and I think is for Steven to answer, is what is Maverick like as a housemate? Are they respectful and considerate, or not that, or something else?
Oh, that's a...
I mean, they grew up with you, right?
No,
so, I mean...
yeah, I think that yeah, because I'm just thinking. I think that they are probably kind of they're not a sloppy housemate, but I definitely don't think that they're a considerate housemate. I think that they are the housemate that has to set the chore wheel, and will politely let you know if you haven't been following it, quote unquote.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. So I think that I think Max is unfortunately stuck doing some chores in the kitchen. She's hand washing dishes when Abernathy arrives to see Lily, but she hears them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I'm trying to be super quiet though. Super quiet.
So I'm kind of...
I'm just saying that Abernathy, I'm being super quiet. I'm being super quiet. You still hear me. I'm not arguing that.
Yeah. This link will not work. Sorry. There's this house where a bunch of spies were caught about 12 years ago in Cambridge, Massachusetts. It looks like a mansion when you see it, but it's got like 5 apartments in it, right? So it's not actually a huge house. I'm trying to
Uh-oh.
pull up the link here. Here's a better image. It's a copy image link. This won't work better. Yeah, that's a better image right there. So that will get you the house. And so, I'm imagining that you sort of like live. It's like, it's like 3 or 4 bedroom apartments in this enormous Victorian house, right? So big-ish, but not huge. Even though like I said, the house itself looks like a mansion. And frankly, it's still pretty nice. Where a bunch of Russian spies were caught. I'm kind of picturing this as like your house, a little bit. Oh, we lost Pan. Who I'm gonna bring her back in? In one of these apartments. And so like if you go in, right, the door kind of rattles. I'm sure that Max like at least hears that someone's coming in. But Lily kind of like, we'll find a way to pull you in a second. But I think Lily pulls you up to her bedroom, and she's like, what's your relationship with Willie Abernathy? Remind me.
Lily was one of the friends that kind of fell out of contact with me when she went off to college. But we've recently been I guess supernatural hijinks buddies. Like we've been engaging in some dangerous investigations around the college without Max's approval.
Yeah, that's right. So I think she's like, look, I found some stuff out. I found some stuff out. And it's about your grandma. But like also kind of maybe about my parents, right? Because she has these mysterious parents that we don't know about, right? And like I don't know, it's weird. It's weird, and I think I can't tell you too much right now, but I need your help. I would owe you if you could help me out here.
Wait, Lily, you called me all the way over here just to tell me that you couldn't tell me anything?
Oh, like this is what I can tell you. This is the deal. 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 And she's like clearly excited. She's maybe on something, right? Like that she's like doing this like stuttering repetition. That's not so much like her, but drugs can sometimes do that to a person. And she's like clearly very agitated. Right, and she's like, listen, so I was like poking around. I was poking around at school in the library, and there was this librarian person. Um, just who well, she was, I don't know, she seemed to know more than she should about the stuff in that library than a librarian would. Which is weird. You think a librarian would know everything about everything in the Bible, and like she starts to spin off in this other direction. She's like, until you sort of like snap her back into focus, right? And she's like, anyways, she was tall, and she like appeared out of almost nowhere, but she was there, and she never really said she was a librarian, but she was in the library. And she's like, she pointed me to some of the Marsh Family Chronicles that are apparently there, which are wild. Let me tell you, they wouldn't let me take them out, but you can go there and look at them. You should go look at them. Oh, except you're not a student, are you? Well, I can take you. Maybe you can come as my guest. Anyways, and so I was looking at those and some of the family trees. And she just sort of like let drop that I look like someone she knows, who knows the Marshes, and like she's starting to get very confused and like trip over herself, right, as she's trying to explain this complicated thing that doesn't fully make sense. And she's like, but basically, she's like, if we go and meet her in the pit, like we can learn some stuff. the pit is this area in sort of like in Harvard Square, which in like the 60s was like very much like a hippie hangout, and then in like the 70s and the 80s was this kind of like punk place. A lot of runaways kind of hung out there, slept there. And then in the 90s and 2000s, it's like it became kind of pretty gentrified. It was just like a seating area basically in Harvard Square near the subway station. But it has a lot of history, right? And I imagine, it's probably a place with some power, right? And that people like Lily, like Max, might know something about, right? That there's a place you could draw power from there. It's a place to meet up. It's a place to meet people and see people and talk to people, in public, right? Like she's not asking you to go somewhere and in private and hide. And she's like, will you come? Can we go? She said we had to go now. She said it was really important. I would owe you big time if we can just go.
I think Abernathy is like, Nodally, I need you to tell me what the hell's going on. I know that after you left for college, you decided you were too good to hang out with me. But I'm not just the little fucking muggle friend that you decided to take along with you.
That's what I'm saying. You're not a muggle. The Marsh family, there's stuff there. There's stuff there. And her eyes get really big. You've never seen her like this, sort of worked up before about something like this. I think, correct me if I'm wrong about this, Max, like you can jump in on Lily's personality. But like my sense is that like she's somebody who like tries to play it cool most of the time. Like she's one of those like teenagers who like I'm always in control, right? Nothing surprises me. I've seen it all. Right? Like with magical stuff, Abernathy, she's always kind of like, yeah, I knew that, right? Like, yeah, this is new to you. Let me show you the world of magic, muggle friend, right? But this is like, she's like, well, there's like something really big here, and she's like showing that. Anyways, but and this person says she can tell us, what's going on. I can't go alone. She said I can't go alone. She said you have come. So please come. And now she's letting slip, right? It's not just that you're doing it, right? Like that she didn't necessarily come up with this idea herself.
Yeah, I mean I was originally like trying to push before she let this slip that like I was trying to what's the move name here?
Figure someone out.
No, I was gonna try to figure someone out. I wanted to persuade an NPC like to actually tell me what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, so I mean,
okay.
I think she knows. She's told you like she's told you what she knows. I think.
Oh, she's told you as much as he knows. Okay.
Yeah, like I think the thing was like she was trying at the beginning. She was trying to play it cool and be like, I know stuff, but I can't tell you. But at this point, she's gotten to the point where she's like no, this is I don't know anything else. This is it.
Okay.
We'll find out if we go together.
Okay, fine. Let's go. I can call in sick, I guess. Are you okay, Lily? Well, yeah, but I'm sort of not planning on getting any sleep this night, so.
Yeah. I mean, and like I think as they start like clumping down the stairs, Max, you can hear them. You can try to sort of like intercept if you want, so long as Abernathy's okay with that.
So yeah, I think that Max walks into the room and she's like drying her hands on a kitchen towel, and she looks at Lily and says, It's kind of late to be heading out.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm an adult. I can do what I want.
Well, yeah, I understand, but
You're not my mom, Max.
no, but I'm responsible for you.
So what? You're gonna tell me I have to stay? We're just going to the square. We're gonna hang out.
Going to the square and
Like
then,
Aubon Pen. We're gonna get coffee at Aubon Pen.
yeah, is that right, Abernathy?
For the record, Abernathy, the pit sits right in front of an Aubon Pen with a big outdoor sitting area. So it's not quite a lie.
No, yeah. I mean, obviously, if that's what Lily says, we're doing that. I give my 19-year-old fucking old people face.
So Max says, okay, that's cool. Yeah, I could use a coffee too, so you don't mind if I tag along, right?
Lily looks to you like expectantly, Abernathy.
I mean,
If it's okay, go ahead, Stephen.
Oh no, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was going to say, if it's okay, since this has happened in the past, Max says, Abernathy, you're not trying to drag Lily into something here, are you?
Are you trying to cash in a debt to do something here?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Just conversation. I mean, just, interaction.
I mean, you could be like indirectly saying like cash in the debt to not to go along with me on this. That's something you totally could do here.
So cash in a debt, and in cashing in the debt, what do I get in return?
Well, first off, you'd get to mark mortality. If yeah, but
Okay.
you were asking. It sounded like you were cashing the debt to like have me like go. Yeah, you can come with us or something.
Yeah, totally. Let's do that. So I'm gonna cash in one of my debts with you. Then.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I think first off, I'm gonna though still say like, look, I thought that, don't you like? I thought that don't you have like classes to audit or something?
Abernathy says that to Max, right?
Yep.
And Max looks.
I am trying to say no here. Let's see how this goes. Because I want to make this, because I feel like that's even though I know I owe you and I know everything you say is right, like is an accurate representation of how things have gone in the past.
Yes.
I feel like I still need to at least try to say no to you here.
Yeah. Okay.
And we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, so you're equal status, so you roll flat.
Yep. Let's see. Okay, that's a 7.
That's a 7. Hey, 19. You owe them an additional debt or mark corruption. Your choice. You weasel out of the obligation for now. You still owe the debt.
Okay, and just to clarify, Stephen, you were using the move figure someone out?
No, this is
a debt. So you tried to cash in the debt.
Oh, okay.
Right?
This is a debt move.
You tried to cash in the debt to say, hey, just let me come tag along, right?
Got it.
Because after all, you've gotten Lily into so much trouble before, you owe me.
Okay.
Right? And Abernathy was like, not this time though.
Okay.
And then
you still get to mark mortality, even if I don't honor the debt.
Right.
Okay, got it.
I just don't get to mark power if I go through with it.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
So on a hit, you weasel out of the obligation for now. You still owe the debt. On 7-9, you owe them additional debt or mark corruption. So what are you going to do, Abernathy? Are you?
I'm going to mark corruption, and I kind of just like give you a.
This off, yeah.
Right. I should already have one anyway. I just kind of. I'm just trying to make certain. Look, Lily and I's private business is gonna. We just have some private business to discuss, Max. Unless you wanted to talk about that somewhere. Unless you want me to talk about that with somebody else. And I'm just reminding you the whole
Yeah.
fucking thing I'm holding over you.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So Max has been denied cashing in the debt.
Yeah. So you get to
So
keep it, and you still get a mark mortality, but I weaseled out of it.
You can
Okay.
kind of, yeah, meaning that just in terms of the fit, what that means in the fiction, right? Which is that Abernathy is not agreeing to let you go along. Lily doesn't want you to go along. It doesn't mean you can't sort of like push yourself in, right? But
Yeah.
it changes, like by
Yeah.
sneaking around, by like saying,
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Avalon Pen by myself and sit at a different table and fuck you.
Okay.
All
right.
like there's a lot of ways you could handle that.
Sure.
Or you can say, you know what, I'm not gonna push it here.
So Max, since she's 28, she turns around and starts to walk back to the kitchen, and she says, "Throwing it up on the TikTok." Because she's old by kid standards.
all right, so let's cut away there. Sabine or Panhu, do either of you have any scenes you wanna play out here? Anything you want to go after, either together or individually? If not, I have a couple scenes I can sort of frame, if that's what you'd like.
Well, I do think it would be fun to go after the my scheme, and I could see Panhu helping, and then if Max is also available, I could see them helping too for a little like heist in the biker bar situation.
So I think if we want to do that, like I think that's bigger than the next 10-15 minutes, which is what
Oh
we
yeah,
have,
that's true. That's
right?
fair.
So I love that as something maybe even to like kick off the next the other question. Do we want to just sort of end the session here, and we'll kick off the next session with some heistiness intercut with Abernathy and Lily learning what's going on. Panhu, you missed what I just said there. I was going to say, if neither of you have anything specific you want to do, we could kick off the next session with the three of you doing a heist.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so let's do that. Let's call it here. I'm going to end the recording. Thanks to anyone who decided to watch. I hope you enjoyed.